So yes, my name's James Arati, and I'm with Langston University. I'm an educator and also the program leader for the program of agribusiness management and community sustainability. And I help clients with business planning, looking at new ideas, new technology that will support farmers and businesses to grow. My background is in agriculture economics. I I also have a lot of hands-on experience. I actually do a little bit of farming too. So that allows me to kind of connect with the farmers in a way that is more practical. So this afternoon, we're going to talk about finding land, especially for those who are looking to get started or if you're looking to expand. We'll talk a little bit about some tips on how to find land, what resources you can utilize to find land, and also to purchase land if you're looking for that. But before I go in, I have a partner and a colleague that we work with very closely. That's from USDA. I want to introduce him, have him talk a little bit about some of the programs they have at USDA because he's going to leave just shortly. So I want to give him a chance to talk about their programs they have at USDA from NRCS and also FSA. And that friend is Mr. Gilbert Guerrero. I'd like to welcome here.
You're gonna make me stand up here, aren't you? Yes. I guess I gotta. There we go. Well, good afternoon. My name is Gilbert Guerrero. I am the Assistant State Conservationist for Outreach Civil Rights. I'm also the Beginning Farmer Coordinator for NRCS and Farm Service Agency and all the other USDA agencies here in Oklahoma. I only work with NRCS, so we have point of contacts with the other agencies. I just wanted to take a few minutes to introduce myself. I am from a small town in South Texas, Rio Grande City, Texas, right along the border, and my dad was a farmer and rancher. I've grown up around farming and ranching. I went to Texas Tech, go Reckham Tech, so hopefully we'll win this weekend against OSU. But anyway, and I've traveled all across the country. I've worked in California, Iowa, Texas, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and then while I was in D.C., I've traveled literally from Nome, Alaska, all the way to Puerto Rico, working with farmers and ranchers all across the country. So actually, I have been tasked as the Beginning Farmer and Rancher Coordinator, which really brings me to this meeting, the partnership with the ONIE and really all these other groups. So we've created a coalition of different agencies across the states, whether it's the farmers, the veteran farmers in the area in the state, Langston, OSU, just different groups have come to the table, cattlemen, the farmers market people, everybody. So what I'm excited about is creating these partnerships that help you all. We have a lot of information that we're going to be giving out, but if you have, I think Dr. Ariati is going to be talking about trying to find a farm. I get a lot of calls from people across the state about events going on, or they're wanting to build a farm, or they're wanting to be a farmer or a rancher. And we're having events, thanks to this coalition with Langston and OSU Extension, spearheading these different events across the state. For example, we had one in Stroud that was talking with cattlemen and bees. We had another one in Tahlequah that was talking with farmers market. And we had people from all across the state. This year, we're going to have close to 10 different events across the state. First one is coming up is in Adair County, and we're going to be talking about cattle again at that one, but they're also going to want to have another one to talk about strawberries. We just found out the other day that we're going to have an event up here in Tulsa and in Rogers County that we'll be sending out information. We're just in the planning processes of that. So as we schedule these events, we have a Beginning Farmer website for our people, for our landowners to call and contact and be able to see whatever events. All of Dr. Ariadne's events that are with Langston, they're also located on that page. And then there's a link there to send us an email to get a contact, whoever you need to see what's going on. Our meetings are farmer driven. That's not me coming up and telling you about USDA and everything else. It is really what you all want to talk about. What are the barriers you all are facing? As the beginning farmer and rancher coordinator, there are barriers, and we're realizing them as an NRCS and a federal employee. One thing is, how many of y'all have cell phones? Show of hands. I think everybody's raised their hands in here. How many times have y'all gotten a call today about a warranty, auto warranty, or well, just to give you an idea, our staff sometimes calls you and they don't leave you a message. So I get tired of getting all these warranty and scam calls, so I don't answer the phone. If somebody doesn't leave me a message, I am not going to call them back. So that's a barrier that we've noticed that we've had to tell our staff. You got to be aware of some of these barriers. So I'm not going to go into all these things, but as the coordinator, I'm going to hand out some flyers. Dr. Ariadne is going to be talking about how to get land. Farm Service Agency is out there available to help you with loans, on operating loans and trying to buy some land as well. NRCS works on your infrastructure, but all the USDA agencies are here to help you as much as possible. I'm going to be here all day tomorrow. Meredith said I have to stay here until a picture's taken, so I'm going to be here till probably about 5. And then we're going to be a part of the farm tour the next day with Langston University, and we're going to be talking about the seasonal high tunnels. Make sure that you go by our booth, look for some information. We have some handouts. A lot of those handouts have scan codes, QR codes on there. There's one talking about military farmers and veterans. Scan that. There's a story on it. There's a story on seasonal high tunnels. So from people that we've met here at ONIE. So thank you very much, Dr. Ariadne. I'm going to pass these out. Just hold off your questions until you see me again, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Gilbert. Okay. So let's talk about if you are planning to farm, what are the things you need to think about as you plan to farm? Obviously, for those who have farm that you're already working on, you have gone through some of these stages or steps, but we'll go over some of them here. So you need land in order to farm. You need land that has good soil, so you need some good soil quality. Then you need also water to be able to utilize the land, right? And then you need some infrastructure on it. You need some equipment to be able to work on land, right? And then you're also looking at proximity to markets. And as market gardeners or commercial farmers, you are producing for the market. You're not producing to keep home. You're producing for the market. So you need to be situated in a location where you, or a position where you're able to get to the markets. Then you also want to look at the location. Location in terms of how easy is it to access, how close is it to access from where you live, and you know, getting to access to other amenities like hospitals and all that. And then looking at your future business goals. I always say farming is a business. It's not just farming, it's a business. So we'll go over some of these. But before we start looking into deep details about planning to find land, let's talk about some strategies that you can use to find land or get started as a farm enterprise. So it's important to think of how are you going to utilize land, okay? Start with laying out your expectations. What are you looking in terms of a farm? You know, we have people who will start a hobby farm. You have people who will start, you know, a commercial farm. You'll have people who start in between hobby and commercial. What type of farm do you want? Then farming is not easy. Do you have the time to commit to do the farm work? You know, it's a lot of work, but you need the time to be able to do that. Then you will also look at maybe if you are trying to start or you want a farm that is already set up and you just go in and get moving. There are farms that are on sale. There are farmers who might be looking to get out exit farming, and they have everything set up. That we can call it a turnkey farm, that you just go in and automate the process and keep going. Or are you going to start from ground zero, build it up and get everything going? Then I always say, when you're trying to start, it's good to learn from others. Look at several options around. Look at those who are already farming. Try to learn a few things, what has worked for them, what has not worked for them, and then see how it relates to you, or how you can really apply your own resources, your time, your skills to fit in. Look at several setups. It's not a one-fit-all. If we all go to different farms, especially on Thursday when we go, you'll see them set up differently. They are all producing, but they are producing in different ways. They are producing food, but they are set up differently. They are utilizing resources differently. The efficiency levels are different. So it all depends on what you look at, and then you try to customize that for your situation. Then if you're looking at new land, you want to look at the topography. Sorry, that's like a little bit of a mouthful word there. Topography. Now, first you want to look at, what are you trying to grow? Are you raising animals or vegetables? And then how is the land looking like? Will it fit the type of crops you're looking to raise? Are they going to do well based on that topography? And then, is the land flooding? Is it a land that is flooded, that periodically gets flooded? Will that apply to you? Obviously not. Those are just important things to look at. Then talked a little bit about location and proximity to the market, the closeness to towns, stores, residences, and markets. All that is important. How close is that land to the market? If you're producing to sell to the market, you have to think about how soon can you get to the market, how much time do you have to be on the road driving to the market, or people coming to you. All that is important. Has the land been used before? I have a picture there of some land I bought, and it's really a very wooded land, and I thought it was nice looking, but it's taken me a bit of time to clear up, and if it's not been used before, it's good land, but you've got work to do on it, right? I compare that with what Micah just bought some land, which is very well, it's a turnkey farm compared to what I got. So we are starting at different levels. So are there environmental factors that may limit, healthy vegetable or animal production? Going back to FSA, if you're getting a loan from FSA, in fact, even before they give you money or lend you, they want to see if it's a healthy land, it's clean land, it's not full of debris and waste that you'll not be able to utilize it. Are there too many trees on the property? Like mine, yes. There's a second one that I just bought. It has too many trees. I think I'll just leave it for a while. So it will take me a while to clean that up. Okay. But trees are also good. When I say too many trees, it's not like a negative. It depends on what the use is. For me, I want to grow vegetables. And maybe for you, if you want to raise animals, Dr. Marco just talked about goats. Goats like shrub, like trees, so you can run goats in there. Analyze the infrastructure. Look at what is available on that land, what is not available. All that is important. Fencing. If you need to use land productively, you've got to secure it from animals, predators that come in. Last year, I grew some nice vegetables, watermelon, sweet potatoes, and good friends of deers coming over. They cleaned up, so well, and now I have to think about fencing. So fencing is important. If you're running cattle or animals, you also need to think about fencing. Is that land fenced, or you need to invest into fencing? And fencing, it's quite a cost, and so that's very important to look at. Rights to gas or minerals, and also to wind. Who owns that? If you're looking to purchase land, for personal ownership, you've got to look at, if somebody owns the rights, you probably be limited to utilize it, right? And if you're just renting or leasing, you could use it for a while and they allow you to do it, and that's okay. Okay, accessing the property, that's also another thing you want to look at. You need to look at access points to the land, getting in, getting out, turnaround spaces, loading space for loading your produce. After you produce, you want to be able to have a way to get vehicles or equipment come in and load up and take things in and bring things in. Neighbors also can be an issue that, you might have very nice land, but your neighbors, they consider you a nuisance. As a farmer, you're running tractor equipment, the dust, the noise, all that can be a nuisance to them. So they may not be welcoming. So it's good to look at how is the neighborhood there. Cell phone or communication, it's important. In most cases when I'm out there working on my piece of land, I'm out there by myself. I just want to make sure my phone is ready and I can call if I have an emergency, right? But also beside the emergency, you also, we are so much dependent on cell phone. We just do everything on the phone. So if you're doing your marketing, trying to market your produce from the farm, putting things online, you want to have a place where you're able to connect online and be able to post, information. And then any other utilities you can imagine that go with that. Okay. So there are three types of farmland ownership. One is you purchase and own it, or you can rent, or you lease. All these apply for beginner farmers or experienced farmers. It just depends on what you find suitable. If you have the money to purchase land, that's an option. Some farmers, they choose to rent while they're in transition, or to lease, and that works too. So where do we find land? Where can you find land? I'll use for my case, and even Micah, I really depend on word of mouth, listening to people talking about what is available, telling people I'm looking for land, and I was able to find what I'm using right now. For Micah, also it was a connection through friends, family friends that he'd known for a while, and they told him about the land, and he was able to get that. Then you can also choose to work with a realtor. If you want to utilize a realtor, there are some realtors that are good, that know about farmland. They can help you to locate land. Online research, I don't know how successful that is. You can do it, but I'll say if you go any online research, you want to maybe go through verifying, like using a realtor, or go to the county assessor and just try to confirm if that land is there, and who is selling it, just to be sure that you don't end up into a fraud situation. Then connections with a cooperative extension, OSU, Langston. We're always out in the field working with farmers, so we might be privy to some information. We know some farmers who are selling property. And then stakeholders like the Cattlemen's Association, Farm Bureau, some fruit and vegetable associations, a Young Farmers Coalition, and then I'm also putting a plug for OKLAS. It's a new organization that we're going to start here actually this month, so we'll hear about it tomorrow. So there are so many sources. Really, the bottom line is the networks you build, the connections you build with people. That way you will be able to find land. Okay. So let's go to what I do most, which is now farm planning. And that farm planning process is very important. You've looked at trying to find land, how to look for it, but I go back to, first, there are questions you really need to answer. What are you going to do with the land, right? What are you going to produce? Where are you going to sell the produce? And then, do you have the money to finance or support the farm, right? Okay. So, for farm planning, you want to start with creating a business plan. And a business plan, it's just as important as your GPS that you use to get you from point A to point B. You want to minimize wasting time. You want to be sure you don't get lost when you're using your GPS. Get to know which routes are the shortest to get you there. So a business plan is very important in this respect, that you're able to look through all the steps, all the issues that are involved in the whole setup of your farm business. Then helps you to organize your expenses, your revenues, and your profit timelines. Through a business plan, you can actually tell when are you likely to start making profits, how much is going to go in at what stage of production, and then how much revenue are you going to get, and when are you going to start getting that revenue. And then it also lays a good foundation for if you're looking to use a lender for purchasing land. It helps you to really lay out your numbers, your information, your production schedules, all that, so you can communicate with the lender to show them so they will understand the story. So I have just a small example here that I want to walk through that FSA uses when you're trying to get a loan from FSA and you're looking to purchase land for agricultural use. They will ask you to show them how you're going to pay for that land by farming it or producing on it. So it requires you to do some budgeting. Allow me to just change the slide here because I have a different... Okay, so that is FSA Form 2038. If you are looking to work with FSA or talk with FSA about borrowing, they will ask you to fill that form. And it's more of a standard form. Any lender will ask you to do this, but they might have it in a different format. But basically what it's asking is you've got to detail out the expenses and then detail out the revenues, and then show what type of products or produce you're going to produce on that. If it's crops, if you tell me you're going to grow watermelon on 5 acres, you've got to account for how much goes into that in terms of seeds, in terms of fertilizer, water, all the expenses that go into producing watermelon. Then we'll also come on the revenue side and say, okay, I'm going to sell first, what is the yield you expect from the 5 acres, right? Then show that in terms of money. How much are you going to sell this watermelon? And then you take that and subtract from the expenses. Then you show how much money you'll make in terms of your profit, gross profit. Now, in this example here, this example here, it's lists here like crop production and sales. You could be looking at doing different crops. Market gardeners, usually they have different crops they are looking at. You're either doing tomatoes, you're doing onions, carrots, cabbage, kale, everything. You need to detail all that and apportion how much of land you're going to utilize for each of the product or produce you are looking to produce. And then you're going to say how much yield you're going to get from that particular crop, right? And then how are you going to quantify the production? Is it in what units are you using? Is it per bushel, per pound, or what? Then you look at the purchases in terms of what are you purchasing to, the purchases you're going to make either to sell to the market in terms of units, either by pound or by bushel, whatever units that you're using to measure for whatever crop, that type of crop you're using. Then what are the total sales you're making at the end? If you're doing livestock, it's the same. You can break out. If you're doing cattle, you're doing goats, you're doing poultry, all that. You can also add all that and also break out every unit like that and show the sales. And then at the bottom, At the bottom here, there are also expenses that are related with all that. You can see all they are listed out there. For the most case, all the regular expenses, they are listed out there. If you have any additionals, you can add here and say, if they're just unique expenses that are not common, you can list them out there. And then you can come down and subtract your revenue, which is your sales from up there, and then come down and also list your non-operating expenses, and then come down and get your withdrawals, if you are making withdrawals from the farm and living off the farm and all that. Then all the way down, you're going to subtract all the sales from the expenses and come with the net income that you are left with as a farm. Now, that net income is now what really the lender is looking at. Out of that net income, are you able to pay for whatever the loan that they are giving you? If it's not adding up, if it's not showing a positive number, they'll probably tell you don't have enough income from this enterprise, so they'll probably not give you the loan. Yes?
Since this is a projected farm plan, and if you are a beginning farmer developing a farm plan, and it does not cash flow, will they then help you to develop a plan that is more feasible, since this is a new venture for you?
Yes, they do, and that's part of what, if we sit down, we'll lay it out, walk through all the details, and if it doesn't cash flow, then we'll start looking at maybe the things you're looking to grow, they are not going to be earning you enough to sustain the farm or be able to pay the loan. Then we can talk about, can you grow other things? And that will go back to, is there a market for those other things that you're looking to grow? Do you have the expertise and all the resources you need? Yes.
Yeah.
Did I?
So one of the things was that he didn't know, all of what I was doing, but he wanted to know was I interested in livestock, because livestock would have raised the value of what I was going to be able to do on the land.
Yeah.
So they do try to help you.
Yeah.
In that area.
Yeah. Okay.
So did that happen with you, Monica, directly through Farm Service Agency, or are you suggesting that you are available to get into the nitty-gritty of it?
I can help you get to the nitty-gritty details before you even get to the loan officer. So at least that way you are going there looking smart. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so, he helped me with the plan, so I had something to go there with.
Yeah.
And then he made suggestions and stuff after I got there.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
Also worth noting for beginning farmers, the crop budgeting, it can be challenging with no experience to base most of these estimates on, and even with the best numbers for the best growers. I always recommend doing a little bit before you go get a loan and get serious about it, and don't quit your day job and all of that. And the budgeting is essential, business plan is essential, but I think you gotta be growing it and doing it for a little bit before you even know if this is what you want to get a loan to do.
Good advice.
That's why the beginning farmer program is so important.
You can find worksheets out there that will help you if you're putting cucumbers, and you can kind of figure out how much weight 10 plants are going to produce throughout a summer of cucumbers, and how many plants you can put in per square foot. And it'll help you calculate how much fertilizer you need, how much water you're going to need, how much pesticides and other chemicals you're going to need, and how much time consumption is going to be, so you can better analyze each individual crop. The problem with them, most of them are on at the smallest on an acre scale, so you have to modify that if you're going to do, 200 square feet of tomatoes.
Right.
Right.
You have
Right.
to kind of modify that.
Okay. I'm the speaker and also the timekeeper, so just trying to make sure I can. Yeah, all those are valid points, and especially if you are just new getting started, it's very important to get your hands dirty before you just say you're going to do it. Okay. So, funding sources for purchasing land, it can be your personal savings. You can use a contract with the seller. Some sellers, they'll be willing to make a contract with you. You just pay them on installments or just however they would like to make that contract. Using FSA, Gilbert just talked about FSA. The example I was showing you was all that FSA. And then using the Small Business Administration can also be another alternative. And other commercial banks and lenders, they are out there. Okay. So a little bit about the FSA loans. They have loans that you can really utilize to purchase land. One of them is the farm ownership loan. And then they also have microloans. And I say the microloans are more ideal, especially for the small and beginning farmers. If you're looking at small acreage, I think that will fit in. And the other advantage with the microloans, they require less paperwork, not like doing the farm ownership loan. And then if you're looking to purchase animals, livestock, and seeds and equipment, you can take advantage of the farm operating loans, microloans, and also their youth loans. Actually, the youth loan is one of the underutilized, especially for the youths that are trying to come up in agriculture. It's a very popular program. I think not very popular in the sense that people know about it, but it's a very convenient program that can help build the profile for the youth. When they get to start farming or they're adults, they look at their history from starting as youths, and that really helps them. Okay, so some just quick takeaways from this. For you to have a nice looking farm like that with nicely arranged rows, it requires you to set your farm business goals, make sure they are right, and do a lot of research, and do relevant research for the size and scale that you want to start with. Many times you see people do research on things that are not really, relevant for them. They just look at a nice setup and they go with that, and it doesn't translate to success. And then create a business plan. I will encourage you to create a business plan all the time. And when we say a business plan, sometimes it is intimidating because people think it's this big document you have to create. A business plan is just as simple as, before we had the electronic GPS, we used to use a map, right? Paper map. That was a roadmap, right? So a business plan can be just you write it out, steps you're going to take until you arrive to a profit. That's important. And then word of caution is be patient with the process. Farming, it's a long-term experience. Just be patient with it, but learn along the way. Okay. Okay, my time is up. I was doing timekeeping here, but I'll welcome questions. Yes.
What about grants? Is it on? What about grants for beginning farmers? Is that a thing? Are there programs that exist that you work with that offer things like that?
So grants are not available for purchasing capital assets, but they are available to help you add value to the process of farming or your farming process. If, let's say, you are trying to do value addition for a product that you like to explore a new market, there are some grants that you can utilize. But they are not funds out there that you can take advantage of to purchase land or capital asset.
I have a question.
Yes, Sheila.
Can we get a copy of that business plan form?
Yes, I can. I'll share that with you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or is it be email or how?
Yeah, I'll email. I think all of you are registered in the Hoover, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll share that. I'll send an email.
Thank you.
If not, I know Sheila can send it to you. Yes.
The FSA forms, and you mentioned the number of the forms, they are available online.
Yes, 2038. Yes.
Do the FSA loans and the USDA loans, are they also good for equipment and or building if you already have the land? Does that make sense?
Yes, there's part of FSA loans that you can utilize for equipment, yeah. Yeah.